Welcome to our second mastery lesson, segment and angle addition postulate. And in this lesson, we're going to learn about two postulates which are very important in geometry. We're going to start with a CK12 interactive book. And we're asking you to read this section of the book. And when you get down to the bottom, there is a practice set that we want you to solve, and it'll say view practice, and then it'll ask you to complete them. So we're going to start at the top, and I'll show you how CK12 works. It's very user friendly. First of all, there's a topic. And when you hover over the word line segment, you can see that the line segment appears. It's a portion of a line with two endpoints. So I'm reading, I'm pointing, and I'm reminding myself of what do we mean by endpoints. A ray is a portion of a line with one endpoint, so I hover over the word ray. Line segments are named by their endpoints, and rays are named by their endpoint and another point. And then it reminds me of how I name the ray. And when I hover here, it's the definition that pops up. And this line segment is AB, that's the line segment. And the ray is either AB or BA. So then I go on and I refresh my memory about angles. What do we mean by an angle when two rays meet at their endpoints? What is the vertex? It's the middle letter, it's the hinge point. How do we name these angles? So this resource will refresh your memory and all of that. What about how we measure angles in degrees, right? So if I use a protractor, remember what the protractor looks like from earlier grades. A full circle has 360 degrees all the way around. So let's hover there and watch 45 degrees, 90 degrees is the right angle. There's an obtuse, there's a straight angle. And now we're into reflex angles, and finally we're back to a full circle. Now we have different names for angles, and the different names are here. If I hover over a zero angle, it has 0 degrees. An acute angle is less than 90. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. We have an obtuse angle, more than 90, but less than 180. And we have a straight angle, exactly 180 degrees, straight across. And now we're asked to name this angle and classify it by its measure. So you're going to think about this before you make a selection. We name the angle by its vertex. We could say angle F. We could call it DFE or EFD. And let's click on measure. We can see it's less than 90 degrees. So what kind of an angle would that be? And you think of the word acute, and then you pull this down and you pick acute and you see if you are correct. So this is an interactive textbook. As you're answering each question, you're getting feedback. What about these words complementary and supplementary? They go back to earlier grades. If you don't remember what they mean, you're going to look at the definition. And this is where we're getting into what we're really talking about in this lesson, right here. This diagram, you can see we have two angles, DBA and ABC. You see they share this ray. So these two angles are what we call adjacent. And to find the measure of angle X, if it's 90 degrees with the sum of both of them because they're complementary, 90 minus 20, this would have to be 70 degrees. So you want to look at the pictures and then see if you are correct. We're going to pick 70 degrees. And it gives us feedback why we are correct. We learn about adjacent angles and vertical angles, supplementary angles, and we scroll and we keep reading and we're refreshing our memory and the things that are important. And then we get to the place where it says view practice, and we click there. And it starts off a little bit on the simpler side, but they get more complicated. So to answer this question, I had to have known something about complementary angles. In the lesson, I learned that they add together to equal 90 degrees. So which pair of angles here equals 90 degrees? I think D is the only pair that equals 90 degrees. So we hit check it, gives us our feedback, and then we hit next. And we're going to need paper for this one, okay? Because it says the angles are supplementary. Now, if these are supplementary, they add together to equal 180 degrees, because that's the meaning of the word supplementary. And we're writing this down on paper because it is very important to always have pencil and paper handy. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to solve this problem. We're going to combine our like terms. So 7x, 38 minus 19 is a positive 19, is equal to 180. We are now going to subtract 19 from both sides. 7x is equal to 161. And then I divide by 7. And I could definitely grab a calculator and do 161 divided by 7. I get 23. So I'm going to say x is equal to 23. I'm noticing that's one of my choices, so I would go ahead and select that one. And so that's what we're doing to start this lesson. We're getting a feel and a flavor for the topic. We're answering these practice questions.